Who gets to inspect more attics than roofing companies? Literally no one.
Sales might be one of the few pieces of the industry that can't be replaced by AI.
But I would take sales over marketing for sure.
Every
Yeah.
sales company that treated reps like a revolving door is no longer with us today. All right, John. First hot take. We sold 40% of our roofs without ever meeting the customer. Loom videos and personalized walkthroughs are enough in today's day and age.
I think that works for a lot of people. I don't think it would work well in like a retirement community.
Mm.
I don't think it would work well.
In Florida, yeah.
I mean, there's just so many different age brackets that, that will not work for. And I'm not saying that there's not some, older people that are up with the times, but I'm telling you, like, yeah, that they might be winning quite a bit that way. But how much are they not winning because they're not showing up?
No, it's a good point. Have you ever pulled the stats like in your area specifically? I feel like Tampa's starting to trend younger, whereas maybe other parts of Florida, they kind of it is, a retirement state. Have you ever pulled your demographics to see what is your primary homeowner? What are they like?
I honestly haven't looked into that because, end of the day, I think we appeal to everybody. Go to the masses.
That's right. No, I love that. All right, y'all. I do see some people popping here into the attendee pool. If you have a question about your business or your process, or I'm sure Starry would even answer something personal. If you have anything going on in your life at all that you would like Mr. Starry's advice on, please pop your questions into the Q&A as he would love to answer any question you have. But no, that's interesting about the buyer demographics. I would be curious to know if there is a shift happening here in Tampa, especially, and if it is trending younger, are you going to have more luck with the Amazon style shopping than you would going door to door? I don't know. Hi, Scott.
Scott, you're back in the wheel.
He's in it to win. All right. So the hot take that we just discussed was in today's day and age, you don't really need to door knock. Loom videos and just kind of social media is good enough.
Yeah, I would argue that pretty heavily. I think that stuff's great. We do that stuff. Like, I think it's definitely got to be part of the conversation. But I have this weird belief, and I'm probably completely wrong, and time will tell. But I have this weird belief that people are trusting technology less and less. I think people utilize it. Like, I think that people are using ChatGPT, and I think people are using Claude for different things. But I also don't feel that it's got the highest trust factor. Like social media. Do you really trust what you see on Facebook? Like, I don't. You know what I mean? If you want to find it, you can find it. Right or wrong, you can find it. I think what people trust is face-to-face conversations and handshakes, and I think that'll never go away. I think there's a lot of people, younger generation, that will avoid those situations more than maybe generations before us. But at the end of the day, I think John knows one of our big tactics is just being in public, talking to people, shaking hands, knocking doors. And we don't chase storms, but we still canvass areas and talk to homeowners, talk to neighbors around our job sites. That literally wins us more work than anything. So, like, it's our number one thing is referrals. But we consider us just going over to the neighbor's house. If they call a week later, that to us, that's a referral because the job we just completed, they're getting a referral from the neighbor, even though we made that relationship. It's a referral job. So, yeah, I think that all that stuff's great, but I think that it doesn't have the same trust factor, and I think you have to just build it in with other tactics as well.
Yeah, that's fair. And then I'll ask you the same question I asked him. Have you pulled like your demographics? Like, what is your most common homeowner? Are they 30 somethings that are buying their first home, or what does that look like for you?
No, our core demographics, like 50 to 60-year-olds, white, redneck, male.
Nice. Oh yeah. Okay. Well,
No,
you know what you got.
it's no, I'm just teasing. But it honestly, that's
That's what it is.
it
No,
is.
all good. I'm from the South too, so you're safe here, Tiva. You're safe.
Yeah. So it's just yeah, those guys and ladies too. I think they trust Google. I think that that's a big one. I think that that's not social media in my book. That's search engine. And I think that people do still trust Google some, but I don't think that they're trusting a lot of the other stuff as well. But those other places are a great place to build brand awareness. That's what they're great for.
So if I could add on to like just what I had kind of responded and think like I think that there is a time and a place for, those digital connections. I just opt to use them as a means of like a follow-up or as a means to reconnect after the actual initial appointment and things, right? Like I'm not using that solely as my way to sell a roof. So I think they're great to kind of tack on to your current process, but I don't think we're quite ready for the Amazonification of this whole industry here quite yet. At least not every area.
Well, I think that's fair. Hi, Robert. I wasn't sure that you were going to get to join us today, so thanks for hopping on.
Well, John sent a mean email privately, so
I knew it. I knew he sent a
I-
stating text because you were
I
not
was-
supposed to be here today.
I was in between meetings and I'm chasing my tail today, but I thought I'd hop on.
Oh, don't ever let Starry bully you into submission like that. If you're off and you have things to do for your business, that's what you have. You can do that. That's okay.
He did. I wasn't gonna let him have the satisfaction.
No, I get it, Robert. I appreciate you coming, despite all odds. All right. Do you guys have a preference of what like do you want to do hot takes in like hiring and retention? Do you want to do sales? Do you guys have a preference on what you'd like to talk about today?
Well, considering I got 15 minutes, you probably don't want to hear me.
Well, I'll just unless you guys have something, I can just go through the list.
How do you guys start your day out?
Okay. Yeah, I'm taking control back.
You mean like first thing in the morning?
Yep.
I get up, I make coffee, and I read the Bible,
Fuck it.
and then deal with something with my kids, and then start looking at ProLine and catching up on the dashboard.
He's beautiful.
I'll reach for my velos first thing, dude.
And when I get the plan,
Yeah.
What about since we're doing this, Scott? How do you start your day?
I literally probably roll out of bed and 5 minutes later, I'm down in my gym in the basement. And I've been having, I hate lifting, and I've been doing it because I got my ankle snapped to jujitsu 2 weeks ago. And so I usually run, and like I was running a lot, like 5 to 8 miles a day. Today was my first, I did 1 mile today, and it was my legs killed me. But, yeah, so usually I just go down there and I got a TV down there and make my coffee and hang
You're
out.
in the zone.
Yeah,
You're in the zone.
that's my like, I work out for 2 hours in the morning, every morning, because I sit in the sauna for 30 minutes, but hour and a half of it, but it's like the 2 hours a day that nobody
it's
gets
you
the bottom.
time.
I
That's
don't
right.
call, you can't call me, you can't text me. It's all, and I love it. It's my favorite.
I love it for you. Never change. Keep that. All right. I've watched a 10, 20, $50 million company tank because they never built a real asset. They just ran ads. What do you guys think? You agree with this hot take? You disagree?
Hard to think that a $50 million company, I mean, honestly, even a $10 million company, they have market share, right? If you're going $10 million, you have a significant market share, and you have to have had some sort of brand building authority in that process. Could they tank? Sure. I don't think it's just because they got their leads from running ads. I think there's a lot of other reasons that would create demise of that company, but not just because of where they built their business as far as lead gen.
I would even think about it because as you're talking through this, it kind of sparked something in my brain where I'm thinking, okay, well, have there been roofing companies that have been really strong and have had a large market share, and then private equity comes in and buys them up, and then suddenly they're unstable, they're not on track for the same trajectory? Like, is that an alternative where it is possible, or do you guys not see that the way that I see it?
I see that for sure.
Okay.
I just don't think it's, I mean, I've seen a company that I'm very familiar with that has an unbelievable brand. Like, they wouldn't even ever need to advertise. They could go 5 years without running an ad and still crush, because they've been there forever and have just always done things so well in such a dominant fashion. And this is to me, it's an unfortunate PE situation. Some of them are good, some of them aren't. This one, to me, from the outside looking in, looks pretty terrible, because that brand is completely shot at this point, and it only took about a year to do it. So it can definitely.
Why do you think the PE company is falling short? Did they not come from the roofing industry and they're trying to make a one size fits all approach work where it doesn't, or why do you think that happens?
The culture got destroyed.
Dang. Okay.
I mean, I think PE was super successful in other home service industries and things where, they could send a technician out, like a repair technician for HVAC or plumbing. And, they could scale that because you could, keep growing the team, service more people. But roofing is not like, okay, you signed today, we're going to get it done to like, that's not how this whole thing works. There's timelines involved. There's a lot more moving parts on this side, and I just don't think they're really built for the way that this side of home services really works. And I mean, I think they're learning for sure, but I mean, pushing one particular CRM and saying this is the end all be all whenever it comes to like PE takeovers and things like it just yeah, they might work great for plumbers and HVAC guys, but they're not very good over here.
Roofing's a lot like the concrete business. If you look at it that way, P's not in the concrete business if you don't know. At least to my best knowledge, that's an area they stay clear away from. Roofing is very similar. It's high tickets, it's scheduled out projects, it's pretty quick turnover on your project time once you start, and it's 100% weather dependent.
Yeah.
Now, concrete doesn't get blown off in a windstorm, but a lot of that's the same, and they've stayed away from it for a lot of those reasons. And roofing can be very complex, just like that. Just like John said, it's not, call in and send service techs. However many times that phone rings a day is how many service techs we can get out in the field. It's not. That's just not the way it works. It's a little bit different. But for the one situation I'm talking about in particular, they went to high pressure close, so it's one call close, high pressure. We're hearing stories all the time about how the homeowners have to kick the sales rep out of the house, like threaten them to leave. It's wild, and they're starting at like $1,600 a square labor per install price base. Like that's their base install. We're 500 just to give you idea of where that sits. More than 3 times what we're charging. It's just that's not a good look. And homeowners, I think that there's a time and a place for that. And actually, John and I talked about one call close stuff recently, in our group, and
Yeah.
yeah, and it was a good conversation. I think that there's definitely a place for it, but when it's high pressure, one call close, extremely high ticket, I just think that there's no trust. And when it was a company that was trusted and highly valued for years, and then all of a sudden this happens, the trust factor is completely gone.
Yeah, it's hard to see. I mean, it would be hard for me being the one that sold the business at least, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
No, I would think so.
No kidding. Anybody else have an opinion that is different or anything to add there?
No, if I owned a concrete company, we would need to cement our processes.
Yeah. Oh, I just got it. It just clicked. I was like, would you? Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, gold star for Robert today.
The foundation needs to be good culture.
Yeah, it does.
Built
love-
brick by brick by brick. Never mind.
Yeah, too far. All right, we had a question in from our attendee here. Most common retail upgrades go.
Gutters.
Ah,
Soffit and fascia, peel and stick, extended warranties.
Yeah. Solar attic fan, maybe.
Yeah.
I think gutter guards is the easiest one. Like because your roofing crew can do it while they're doing the roof. ABC can send them with it takes 0 extra effort on the sales and production side other than the install itself. Like it's on the same material order, it's on the same work order. I love selling gutter guards, but we have started selling gutter more, and that can be very lucrative. We have found that how to sell that well, and we're doing really, really well with gutter.
and did you have a follow-up question about that? Like anything specific they just touched on? I think you're about to say something, Robert. Yeah.
No.
No? Okay. All right. Well, let's see. Next question here. Let's see. Okay. Every single company I watch treats sales reps like a revolving door is gone now. Do you guys agree with this?
Say it again.
Every
Yeah.
sales company that treated reps like a revolving door is no longer with us today. Have you ever kind of experienced that where you feel like maybe they hire a ton of people when it's about to be busy season just to try to keep up with that volume, but they don't really take good care of them or kind of show up where it counts in a way?
I haven't witnessed any of them not being here, but I will say I've certainly seen a rather steep decline in the success that they've found.
Hmm.
But
I
I
just
really
had a
love that question.
I just had a call with a company. Good company, good people, good owner. But he was telling me about his turnover with sales reps, and I was like shocked because he is a lot. But he's in a storm market, and I don't know if that's part of it, but like everything else about the company seemed top notch.
Solid. Yeah.
Yeah, like I was impressed with him and thought highly of him, and then he was telling me about that, which I didn't lose my respect for him by any means. I was shocked to hear that. So I think there are good companies that just see high turnover in sales.
Mm. And that has to do with maybe where they're located, like you're saying, and less about kind of the strength of the organization? Okay, no, that's interesting. And then there's another one here that kind of touches on that, which I'd be interested to get your takes. Do you guys agree or disagree that sometimes your best sales rep would be your worst sales manager?
Yeah.
Oh,
Dang, okay, why?
I've talked to his name's Josh. He'll probably hear this. And like it's okay. He's our top sales guy. And we've had conversations about him moving into a sales management role. It's just not a good fit. Like that dude makes so much money. He'll never make that much money in management. Like it wouldn't make good sense. And he would just be in everybody else's way because he knows how to do it. And he would just go do it for him. Like, get out of the road, I'll just go sell it. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how he is. I just don't think it'd be because he knows he could, So I just don't think it'd be the best fit. And we've talked about it multiple times, and both of us agree it's just not the right thing.
Sure.
I mean, I think the best sales managers are really just more organized, but also respected. So they prove their worth to those around them, but they don't have to be the top dog to like really be the best fit there, right? And oftentimes they're not going to be the best fit if they are the top salesperson. Your top salesperson is more than likely going to be best at kind of connecting with people, just getting people laughing or, you know, whatever it is that they do to really like kind of lock things in with people. Um, where they might have that success with a customer, but whenever it comes to cascading down, you know, initiatives to a team, um, salespeople are, I don't even want to say anything bad, so I'm just going to stop.
No, I know where you're going with it though. They're kind of like the visionaries, right? They're the big personalities. They show up, they represent the company well in person. They're larger than life, and that's what they do best. But I agree with you. Sometimes those people don't really have the personality types for the boring processes, for the unnecessary admin that comes with management. So I hear you, and I don't I don't think what you're saying is wrong, John. All right. Ian asked, just curious if anybody is doing installation or decks. So back to the question about retail upgrades.
Heck yeah, we blew 3 attics last week. I think that's going to be I could honestly see us branching out and running a full on installation division at some point. We just started like a month ago, maybe. Never have advertised it one time. Literally just started adding it in as an option in our quotes. That's it. We've done nothing other than that.
Nice.
I think it's a no-brainer. It's such an easy and not to beat up insulators. It's a rough job. Like it's not fun. You know what I mean? It's not fun at all. But it's doesn't take a whole lot of experience to blow attics. Now we don't want to like do anything else. I'm not putting bats in your walls or spray foam. We're not doing any of that. We're blowing attics. That's all we're doing. But who gets to inspect more attics than roofing companies? Like literally no one. Like I don't even think installation guys get calls to inspect attics very often because most of the time homeowners expect it to just be there. And if it's not there, they just ignore it. Right. But we can put our head up in there, look around, be like, you've only got 4 inches of insulation. You're supposed to have 12. Do you want to save some money on your heating and cooling bills? such an easy job.
No, I like it. That makes sense.
Our average job too has been like $2,200 for installation. So
That's a lot on.
yeah, and we can go do that job in like 3 hours. So it's a sweet little piece of business. If we decide to start advertising, I really think we could do a lot of business with it.
So you and I started selling that pretty much like right in line with each other.
Yep.
And we have not had much success with it. But if your average ticket is, I think I might be priced a bit too high. So
Well, John, I was gonna say too, it's been really mild here in Tampa. Like
Yeah,
I barely had to
but-
put my air or heat on at all. I just open a window and we're in a good place.
But I mean, Scott and I had a conversation about this before. Like, how easy is it for us to just, as we're doing our meet and greet, just ask them, like, hey, do you have any rooms inside your home that don't ever seem to get to the same temperature as the rest of your house, right? And boom, right there, like you can start talking to them about how
Yeah.
insulation would help. So I got to crack the code. Scott, we'll probably have to talk about that on Wednesday a little bit more.
Yeah, workshop it, fellas, and report back next episode. We got people in the wings.
Hey,
Did you get a rig for that? Do you have like a full rig for that?
Yeah, so actually, it's a just look. There's a company called, and this probably isn't great of me, but it's a company called Koala Insulation, and they're a big franchise company, from what I understand. But they build really nice rigs for their franchisees. Like they're pretty sweet setups, and yeah, one of the guys went out of business, and he was selling these brand new setup. It was a year old, and so we just bought the whole setup, 20 grand. That's what I got in it.
Pretty solid.
Yeah. So it's really nice. 7-foot tall trailer, 20-foot long, got all the equipment inside of it. Just yeah, we literally hooked up to it, threw insulation inside, and did our first job.
I like it. Anybody else got any feedback on this one?
Don't do decks. So just coming from a place that, not to say don't do them, but if you're looking for ease, like simple add-ons to your roofing company, decks is not the place to do it. Like that's a very customized space. I've been there. Actually technically we were still a Trex Pro. I don't know why we still have the accreditation, but we do. But it's a very, very custom space. Even if you don't offer composite, which is pretty much all anybody wants anymore, even if you're just doing treated lumber, there's a lot of legwork that goes into selling decks. It can be very labor intensive on the sales side. I wouldn't recommend it. Margins are decent, but you got to have really, really solid installers, and you got to have really intelligent salespeople that know how to do that bid. It's not as easy as just pulling a measurement on a roof. There's a lot that goes into that.
No, that makes sense.
Now Carney sells decks.
All right, Carney, this is a great time. We had somebody in the attendee pool, Ian Smith, ask for the most common retail upgrades. And then he was really curious if anybody here does insulation or decks. We've already covered that insulation could be an interesting play, and the fellas gave him some feedback on that. But any feedback on add-ons here for retail, specifically decks?
I love decking, especially if we're doing like a resurface. Quick, easy. Just tear those deck boards off and then reinstall some new composite or vinyl products. Really, really like resurfacing. The one big problem that I see is like actual builds, like new decks or even full tear down and rebuild, because there's a lot of pieces, parts, and components to that. Now, John is okay with doing projects that take a little bit longer because he's in Florida. But I don't particularly like to wait for concrete to set up. So it's just the problem with new builds for us when it comes to decking is all the different inspections, and you got a framing inspection, you got a footer inspection. Concrete only dries so fast. So it adds a little bit of a hiccup into our production. But if you're set up for it, you can make a lot of money with decks. And I love resurfacing decks because you can turn those pretty quick, and it only takes 1 or 2 skilled guys to be able to resurface a whole deck and put new railings on in a day or 2.
Oh, that makes sense. Thanks, Carney. Coming in hot.
Sorry, better
No,
late
you're
than never,
good.
right?
No. I mean, like you're coming in ready to answer questions. That's what I mean. If you're late, you're late. No worries. Don't worry about that at all. All right. KPIs are just a report card of your past. They can't tell you what's about to break. Hot take that you agree with or disagree with?
No, I mean They can give you an outlook on what's ahead for
They
sure.
so they can forecast what's about to break.
Yeah, especially if you're seeing a trend. You're trending the wrong way. Stop it. Fix it.
Was that a question or was that a statement?
Oh, so Carney, I guess you weren't here last episode. So we've changed the format a little bit on this. Right now, I just kind of give you a sentence, a hot take from somebody in the industry. I'm leaving it. I'm not telling you who said it, and then you guys have to tell me whether you agree or disagree and why.
Whoever said that's an idiot. So tell him to stop telling people that, because I mean, all of our data and information that we have is all, for the most part, historical data. And then to Robert's point, you identify trends, and if you're not paying attention to your KPIs and the different metrics that helped you to get to a certain point every day, week, month, annually, you name it, how can you identify what's working and what isn't working? So that's a crazy statement. I don't know if it was a polarizing statement to solicit a certain response, but you have to have metrics in place. You have to track them, and you have to visit them regularly to identify what's working and what isn't working. And if not, you're operating blindly.
Yeah, your actions today are gonna show it as results in 60 to 90 days afterwards, you know? So if you're taking it easy 1 month, you're gonna be feeling it in the next 2 to 3. So you can never let your foot off the gas whenever it comes to, staying in sales activity and staying on top of whatever it is that you're actually tracking. Because the moment you let off, you'll be feeling it 2 to 3 months down the road.
That's good advice, John. All right, another hot take. More activity is not the answer. If 50 doors didn't work, why would 100?
I would actually agree with that.
Oh, and why?
So I don't think that you should look at activity in quantitative measures. I think you should be looking at activity in qualitative measures. So if you're investing activity into the right things, and the things that you would expect to have happen will happen. So leaving 100 door tags isn't going to get you twice as many, repeat phone calls as leaving 50. That's just luck of the draw. But, making 50 follow-up calls, you're going to have a much better success rate with that.
No, that
So
makes sense.
we'll let
Quality over
these other
quantity.
guys.
I agree. Quality over quantity. If a door knocker is not trained properly, he could knock 200 doors and his conversion rate will be a lot lower. You train him properly, then yeah, if he can do 100 doors with the same skill he did the 50, then great. But he's wasting his time if he's not trained properly.
I heard a quote recently that kind of resonates here, and it's about spreading your surface area for luck. So it's about like giving yourself more opportunities to take a swing and putting yourself in front of more people or places that would be an expander for you. So is it a numbers game, or is it just kind of you giving yourself more of an opportunity to win?
I think there's a nuance there, because if you have nothing to do, like, go do something. Go do anything that could be considered a revenue generating activity. If at that point it's canvassing and hitting doors and you've done 50, go do 50 more. And then after that, go do 100 more. So like I think there's nuance to that. But I think what John was alluding to is, if something's ineffective and it's not working, do less of that and do more of the stuff that is working.
It's not so much a numbers game then, is it? No, I
Yeah.
hear what you're saying. That makes sense. All right. If marketing is done correctly, it's more valuable than sales. Do you agree or disagree?
I disagree.
Okay, why?
I'm just hijacking the call, aren't I?
That's perfect. No, you're good. These gentlemen, they're wore out. I'm giving it to them.
Marketing is not more valuable than sales, because if you could generate 1,000 appointments, but if you can't close any, you won't make any revenue. Everybody on this call makes money by selling something. Any attendee on here makes money by selling something. So there's an exchange that takes place, and there's somebody that is selling that product or that service. So you could have the best marketing in the world, but if you don't have anybody that's able to sell it and close it, it means absolutely nothing. You're just burning money, and you think it's cool because you're able to gain people's information. So sales is way more important, and there's plenty of phenomenal businesses out there that were built 30 years ago, 50 years ago, and there wasn't traditional marketing in the sense that it was now. It was all sell some shit and then do an amazing job so that people talk about you. And they didn't have the marketing that we all talk about today. So there's an enormous amount of phenomenal high income producing businesses that were built without strong marketing engines. So I would disagree with that and say sales is way more important.
Yep. Fair. Robert, John.
I mean, Carney said it all.
He left nothing on the table, did he? Anything outside of that you guys want to add, or we're ready to move on?
Well, I can speak on a little bit because I'm thinking about the question you asked earlier in the call about what was it about private equities and then building like an $8 million company and then it just fails. I can't remember the wording of the question, but I have to tie it into my own experience with the predecessor that the company that we were before that we took over. And I left for about 18 months and I came back and we took over and rebranded and all that. But back then it was a classic 10-9 or roster of 1099 guys who crushed it. This was all SGL. And the guy didn't market at all. He had a bad brand. So I'm kind of glad he didn't waste a bunch of money because the brand, now that I think about it, the branding was not marketable. But the individual sales guys were so good that they helped homeowners and worked hurricanes and back into storm a lot more storm activity and storm sales. But at one point, it $8 to $10 million company with like no marketing budget. But when the culture dipped, like, and all those sales guys left, there went the revenue, and he didn't have a brand or a system that he had built. So I think what I'm getting at is that if you can have a really good sales process coupled with a sound marketing strategy, then you can build a really healthy company so that if somebody did leave, your $2 million walks out the door, a producer, you can train somebody else up if you have good systems, education, and training. So I think they go hand in hand, but I would take sales over marketing for sure. Because if you know how to sell, you can survive. And that means if you know how to connect with a homeowner or whoever to sell a product or a service, you can, do a lot of amazing things. Not just sell and sell anything. So sales is a really strong skill that I would take over marketing.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people like in the space say that sales might be one of the few pieces of the industry that can't be replaced by AI. That there's a lot of other, ways that AI can kind of come in, but I don't know that. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think we'll get to a place in the next year or two where AI reps are selling better than people?
No,
I don't either.
no, because I don't think people will. People want to. I think that bubble's already bursting. Like says for me, and I use AI. I think we want real connection. Hey, you could do this call with a few AI avatar roofers instead of real guys.
Do you think they would give me the same kind of hard time that John Starry does? I don't think so. You think they would keep the morale the way that?
Allie, I got a question.
Mm.
Would you go shopping with an AI bot
Yes.
over your friend?
I would no, I thought no, not over my friend, but I would go shopping with an AI bot. Yes. I would go shopping with anybody at all.
As long as he brings his credit card.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to use mine. That's crazy. That's insane. No, but I hear you.
Scott and I were just talking about that. And I think a lot of people are really getting ahead of like how quickly this whole thing is really going to move. Like, I don't see AI truly being like a full on replacement. I think it'll be more of a complementary thing over the next
Yes,
course of the next 5 years.
I agree. But it replaced tasks, not people. Not roles. It replaced tasks, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, think about it like even with how we're using it over at ProLine. It's cool to set your business open to 24 hours.
But
a lot of times there.
I'm gonna toot my own horn here though, quick.
Please.
We just hit 1.5 mil for the month so far.
Congratulations.
Dude, I hope we
Hell
keep getting these
yes.
price increase letters from these suppliers, man. They work,
Get you
baby.
going. Get you going. That makes sense though. Yeah, I definitely have been hearing more and more feedback about putting your suppliers against each other and making them, bid for your business. I kind of like it. How much do you love me? No, but this was a good episode, guys. Thanks for hopping on. I'm not seeing any new questions pop up in the Q&A here, so I'm cool with giving you a whopping 2 minutes of your time back. But thank you as always for hopping on today. We'll be right back at it next week at 4:30 to do it all again.